Welcome back. Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television, and welcome to the Women in Business segment. This morning we speak with Miss Lisa Joseph, and you might have seen her a couple of weeks ago, but today she's in the capacity of educator and publisher. In fact, she's a dynamic professional who blends her passion for health and wellness with her dedication to early childhood education. And this morning we're talking about some publications that Miss Joseph did for early education. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, good morning.
Of course, a pleasure having you in studio with us again this morning in the Women in Business segment. And I must commend you for your efforts and for, just immersing yourself in entrepreneurship and looking for different avenues, one, to contribute to the holistic development of the person, and of course to make some dollars, because when you get into business, that's what it's about, right?
Yes.
So we're talking now about publications of books for preschools, and I'm seeing this Calissa's Prep Kids, right? Educational resources for kids. So let's talk about one, the reason why you saw it necessary to do this type of publication, because there's so many publications out there for early education. How did you come about thinking it might be a good idea to do this?
Well, to be honest with you, I have to give kudos to my daughter, Calissa. It was Calissa's initiative. After closing my establishment in 2021, which was Calissa's Prep School, a reputable organization, my daughter came home one day and she said, "Mommy, I have something to show you." And when she opened the box, it was one book, the math book that she published at first. And it brought tears to my eyes, because I said, this is an opportunity for the school to live on, to give children the opportunity of still having that Calissa's Prep School experience and having to have access to the information so that parents can work with their kids. I said the school can still live on, even if it's not actually operating, as it used to before. So I give kudos to her, because when she bought that book, I said, "Well, Calissa, we cannot stay at one book. We can't stay at just one book." So I then put together the information, and together we were able to publish 10 workbooks for preschoolers.
And the drive to do this, of course, came from your background in education, as you mentioned before, operating the preschool.
Yes.
Right? And so, of course, you have a hands-on knowledge in terms of how children at that age learn and how they receive information and how they interpret information. I know you're saying you have, is it 10 books you said?
10 books.
So talk us through the 10 books that you now have under the Calissa's Prep Kids educational resources for kids.
Okay, great. So with the experience that I have, I believe that children learn through their senses, as with having a Montessori background, where children, her philosophy is that children learn through their senses. So it means that they had to touch things, some of them may even taste things, involving all the senses. And I have been working with children, providing that hands-on experience, because I've seen where children have blossomed. Children who were considered slow, they were able to excel using the hands-on approach. And so I decided that I can still, even though they are not able to do it physically with me, I came up with these books that will help children to also have at least some hands-on experiences. So we have the first introductory book is our math, pre-math activities, which allow children to recognize numbers as well as the value. So there are exercises for children to cut out and stick the number of objects to the corresponding number. Right? It involves a lot of coloring also. We have, from the introductory program, we have where they have to do like color one thing or draw one more, and how many now. They make their own sandpaper numbers as well. So it allows parents to do that with the kids, and that indirectly prepares them for writing the numbers or the letters. So we have like 4 books, 3 books for the math program. The introductory one that introduces number recognition and number value. And then we have the other 2 levels that introduce the addition concept, right, through the different activities in the booklet. We have in the area of literacy, which is the pre-reading activities. You know, a lot of parents are excited to hear or know that their children can read, you know, at 4. Now, my thing is that children, the more exposure you give to them in regards to read, it's not just reading, but building that foundation. It's not just throwing them into a book and them calling words. So my book encourages children to first develop phonic awareness and phonemic awareness. So phonics, they first learn the letters by the sound rather than by the name. The name comes in later, right? So we teach them to identify the letters by sound. So for example, we say this is A, as in apple, and then we call different objects that carry that A sound. So the books are designed that way. And we also have a fun craft book that they can use back those letters to make the pictures of things that carry the sound of the letter. So we have that as our alphabet craft book that reinforces the concept. It adds fun and it allows parent and child to spend time together. After that phonic awareness, we have what's called the phonemic awareness, where children can now identify that sound in words. So you call words at random without even showing a picture, but by hearing the word, they will be able to identify the beginning sound. So we'll ask, what sound do you hear first when I say apple? Or if I say ambulance, what sound do you hear first? And they are able to tell you ah. Right? So we develop the phonic awareness, phonemic awareness, and then we teach them to put those songs together to make words. So each book allows for the development of those skills.
It is so amazing. Sitting here listening to you, the process, you know, your planning process in terms of how you compile the books, certain levels. And I'm seeing here, I have a couple of the books. I see level 1, level 2. Yes. So you're talking about how you move them from one stage to the next, right, and putting that method into the actual workbook.
Yes.
You know, we cannot know what teaching and learning is, but to understand the science of it, which is just brought down for us, and the significance and the importance, I must commend you on taking the time out rather, to do that, to ensure that the learning process is in a systematic way, right, that the children can understand and grasp the concepts of the books, right? And so we're talking about math and we're talking about literacy, and all the books have different levels, right?
That's right. So we even have one for writing skills as well, right? Unfortunately for us in the Caribbean, our children have to start school at 5. Whereas in other countries, European countries, children start really at 6 and 7. And one of the reasons for that is that the muscles in the hands, those fine motor skills, are not developed until a child is actually 7. Right? So we have to prepare our children for writing at 4. To get them ready for the primary level at 5. Nice. So there are activities that helps to develop those fine motor skills. Right now, some of it I couldn't put into the book, but I would have shared some ideas that parents can use. You know, for example, using clothespins just to put on the rim of a bowl helps to develop those fine motor skills. You know, pouring exercises using dried peas or beans, and you have that child pouring using a cup with a handle will help that child to develop fine motor skills. Stringing beads, you know, these are just some. Using a tweezer to transfer the beans into one container to the next, right? And then you have sand activities where you have them tracing the letter. You can actually use the actual sand, or teachers or parents can make sandpaper letters that help them to trace before you actually put them into a book.
No, you're talking about all these activities, and sometimes you would think that these are just, something to keep the children occupied, but now you're explaining that it's actually assisting in their motor skills. It has a purpose.
Yes.
It's not just to pass the time or for them to do something fun and exciting. Though it is fun and exciting, it does have a purpose. Are these books available for persons to purchase so that they can use, whether it's in schools or at home with their children, to do their own personal development with their child?
Right. So it's available on Amazon. It's also available at my place. And so you can call and make your order, or you can do it yourself on Amazon.
All right. So tell us where is your place? How do persons contact you if they're interested? I know we have sound level 1 and level 2, and then we have book 2 in beginning songs N to Z. So I assume there's an A to Z as well. Then we have math. There's so many books that are available, and I'm looking, and look at how the fonts and the prints so very, engaging and very, very engaging for children of that age. When they see these fonts, they gravitate towards them, and, going through the book, it's very, very, it's easy to follow, it's fun and practical. So the children can really identify the fruits and all the things that you have in there, which I quite like. So tell us exactly your contact details and where people can find the book locally. For those who want to order on Amazon, of course, you look for Kalissa's Prep Kids.
Yes,
the book.
On Amazon, you can either use my daughter's name, Kalissa Joseph Roberts, or you can use the title, right, which is Kalissa's Prep Kids.
Right, and select whichever book you're looking for.
And you can contact Kalissa Joseph Roberts also at 735-4505, or you can call me on 765-2967.
All right. Well, Miss Joseph, I really am impressed by all that you are doing, and I want to wish you the absolute best as you continue to mold minds and support parents in helping their children to be ready for primary and secondary school, because I believe that the foundation is very, very important for them to develop their skills later on. So all the best, and thank you so very much.
Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been speaking with Miss Lisa Joseph, who is an educator and a publisher of books for preschool age children. Get your copy. You can get them at Kalissa's Prep. She gave you the information there, either on Amazon using the handle Kalissa's Prep Kids, and you look for whichever book you're looking for. You can contact them locally to get your copy as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we have to end the morning show on Tobago Updates Television, but it's not where we end our programming. We head on over to GMT, which is Good Morning Tobago, and as we go, we invite you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live.